What's up, YouTube? Bay Area Baller 18 back again. The NFL draft is around the corner. I just finished watching the quarterbacks and wide receivers at the NFL Combine. They just wrapped up day one of on-field activities. And the wide receiver position is the position I've scouted the most out of this draft class. So I feel good about giving you guys my top 20 wide receiver prospects. The official 40-yard dash times just came in, and I try not to let the combine have these drastic moves through my rankings, but there are a few guys who moved up a few spots, couple guys who dropped down a little bit, but nothing more than 3 or 4 spots, I think, was the biggest move. Make sure you let me know in the comments who I got too high and who I got too low. Starting off at number 20, Danny Gray out of SMU. You see the 40-yard dash, 4.33, and I had read he was a track star in high school, and it translates to the football field. He's your traditional deep threat. And there's another receiver at SMU, Roberson. He's a blazer as well, but he didn't run the 40-yard dash today. And I had both of them like back-to-back in my rankings, and the fact that Danny came out, ran the 40, showed the speed on at the combine. Now, here's the thing with SMU. They kept Danny Gray on the right side of the formation, and then they had Reggie Roberson on the left side, and they rarely swapped them. So Danny Gray only played lined up on the right side of the field. And I'm sure he'll pick up how to play all over the field, but there may be a slight learning curve adjustment there. And it's not just all speed with Danny Gray. He's a nifty route runner who knows when he needs to throttle down to find the hole in zone. Danny Gray is a JUCO transfer. Last season at SMU, he had 49 receptions for 803 yards, 9 touchdowns. Checking in at 19 out of Indiana, Ty Fryfogle. He's got a good size at 6'1", 204, but what I really like about Ty Fryfogle is he's smart. He's a good route runner. He was winning contested catches at a high clip, solid speed, checked in at the combine with a 4.53 40-yard dash. 39-inch vert, not a bad day at the office for Fryfogle. He's an older prospect, spent 5 years at Indiana. Last season, he had 46 receptions for 512 yards and 1 touchdown. At 17, we got Twitter's favorite receiver, Calvin Austin III. He's another track star. You see the 40-yard dash. He ran a 4.32, 39-inch vert, and the vert shows up on tape. You can see him leaping up, making acrobatic catches. Now, he's tiny. He's 5'8", 170, so he's going to be in the slot, but you can put him at punt return. You can put him in the slot, but he's a jitterbug. He's electric. I absolutely love Calvin Austin. This past season at Memphis, he had 74 receptions for 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. Hey, I hope you're enjoying this video. Do me a favor right now. Like and subscribe. More importantly, subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000. Help me out. Checking in at 16, I got Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama. He ran better than I expected today with the 4.49, 36-inch vert. Strong day. Looking at the tape, the first thing you see is he's got a strong frame at 6'1", 194, and he's a good route runner. I think he's going to translate to be a good possession receiver at the next level. He's a small school guy, and I got to try to get some more tape of Tolbert out of South Alabama because I didn't have much to go off. This past season, he had 82 receptions for 1,400 yards, 8 touchdowns. Just a massive year for the small school. My 15th receiver out of Kentucky, Wandale Robinson, massive 2021 campaign, 104 receptions, 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns. This guy will make you miss. He's short and shifty. He's a jitterbug. Kentucky threw him a bunch of bubble screens, and he was making plays happen after the catch. Ran a 4.44 at the combine today, 34.5-inch vert. And Wandale's not slow, but he's definitely quicker than fast. He's going to be a good slot receiver at the next level. Checking in at 14, I got John Metchie out of Alabama. We've all seen Metchie in big games step up. He's a sick route runner. He primarily goes deep, but he can also be used in the intermediate part of the field, crossers. He gives me some Tyler Lockett vibes. Now, he tore his ACL late into the season, so I don't think he's going to be ready for training camp. He had 96 receptions for 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns this past season for the Crimson Tide, with a massive 10-catch, 173-yard game with a touchdown against 21-ranked Arkansas. Coming in at 13 on my big board is David Bell out of Purdue. And earlier when I talked about wide receivers coming up a couple spots because of the combine or dropping a few spots because of their performance at the combine, Bell's one of the guys who dropped a few spots. You know, I knew he wasn't a Blazer, but 4.65, man, I was hoping he was going to run a little faster than that. 33-inch vert, not the best. And he measured shorter than I expected. I thought he was 6'2", 6'3", came in at 6'1", so he fell a couple spots. That being said, I still really like Bell because he's really smart. He's got high awareness. He's got phenomenal releases off the line of scrimmage. I saw a couple times DBs trying to get hands on him at the line, and he gets right past them and gets a step. Even though he's running this 4.65, you try to punch him and whiff, he's going to get a step on you. And I thought he was good after the catch. So overall, I still like David Bell despite the lackluster combine. The past season, Bell had 93 receptions for 1,286 yards and 6 touchdowns. At 12, I got Alec Pierce out of Cincinnati. And the more I watch this guy, the more I like him. Cincinnati used him as a deep threat, and he consistently won down the field. So I'm thinking, this guy's fast for a white boy. And then he confirms it by running the 4.33 at the combine today with the 40.5-inch vert. This guy's got supreme athleticism. He was also winning contested catches all over the field. The guy has got some Jordy Nelson to his game. This past season at Cincinnati, you know, he's got Desmond Ridder throwing him the rock, and Alec Pierce had 52 receptions for 884 yards, 8 touchdowns, good for 17 yards per catch. At 11, I got Skyy Moore out of Western Michigan. Now, he's a slot guy. He's short. Coming in at 5'10", he's a really good route runner. He's got good speed, and this guy's polished. He's a natural at the position. Last season, he had 95 receptions for 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. He was the man for the Western Michigan Broncos. Ran well at the combine today with the 4.41 40-yard dash. You can plug and play him in the slot immediately, in my opinion. At 10, I got Khalil Shakir out of Boise State. He's another slot receiver, and I wouldn't call him the flashiest, but this guy's rugged. He's physical. Every ball he catches, he turns into a running back after the catch. He's a yards after the catch monster. Solid performance today with the 4.43 40. Had 77 receptions for 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns this past season. Coming up at number 9, I got George Pickens out of Georgia. And he's an interesting prospect. He's had some injury issues at Georgia. His most productive year was his freshman season, where he had 49 receptions for 727 yards, 8 touchdowns. This guy's got the tools. He's 6'3". He moves well. He's really coordinated for a big guy. There's a bit of high risk, high reward with Pickens. Coming in at 8 is my guy. I'm higher on Romeo Doubs than anybody you will see. This guy's got a tantalizing combination of size, speed, acceleration. But let me tell you something. I was very disappointed he didn't do anything today at the combine. He didn't even interview. I got a couple buddies out there in Indianapolis who I've been hyping up Romeo Doubs to, so they wanted to hear what he had to say in the interview, check him out on the field, and he was nowhere to be found. That being said, Doubs is my guy. I'm not going to stop pounding the table for him. I got him inside the top 10. You know it already at number 8. I think he's a big-time deep threat. He's taking bubble screens to the house because he'll juke one guy and then he's off to the races. Assistant coaches were calling him the cheetah. The guy had 8 touchdowns in a high school game. I could go on. I'm a big Romeo Doubs fan. Now, I don't think he's very sociable. That might be why he didn't do his media period at the combine. But the guy's a baller. He had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons for Nevada. This past year, 80 receptions, 1,100 yards, as well as 11 touchdowns. All right, at 7, I got Drake London out of USC. And I know some of you are going to go after me hard in the comments because a lot of you got him as your number 1 or number 2 wide receivers. And I like London. I got him at 7. But with London, there's a bunch of contested catches. I like receivers who get separation consistently. Now, he wins his contested catches at a very high clip. At the NFL level, I think it's going to be a lot more difficult. But nonetheless, I still like him as a prospect. All right. He's 6'5". This guy's a huge specimen. Or I guess he measured in at the combine today at 6'4". But he's a physical specimen. He runs hard after the catch. He tries to fight for the extra yardage. USC threw him a bunch of back shoulder fades, jump balls. This guy, he's got some Mike Evans to his game. Because even though he's so big, he's got good footwork similar to Evans. So he didn't do anything at the combine today because he's rehabbing a broken ankle. But this past year with USC, he had the 88 receptions for 1,084 yards, 7 touchdowns. Checking in at 6, we got Christian Watson out of North Dakota State. And Watson's a guy who I've been fond of for a couple years now because I was watching Watson paired up with Trey Lance. And he was making a ton of big plays with Lance at quarterback. I think Watson can do it all. He can run any route in the route tree. He's a deep threat, first and foremost, at 6'4", big physical specimen. Absolutely killed it at the combine today with the 4.36 40-yard dash, 38.5-inch vert. And unfortunately, with the 49ers' first pick being at the back end of the second round, I'm not sure we're going to get a chance to even draft this guy. This past year, Watson had 43 receptions for 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. The guy averaged 20 yards a catch for his career at North Dakota State. His combine performance did bump him up a couple spots, ahead of my boy Doubs and Drake London. Coming in at number 5, I got Jahan Dotson out of Penn State. When you watch his tape, it felt like I was watching like prime Randall Cobb come back to college. He's got wiggle. He's got really good hands. He's just a natural. He's polished. He's a sick route runner. I mean, the guy can throw touchdown passes if you want him to. He's a plug-and-play slot receiver from day one. He was just a beast for the Nittany Lions. Finished last year with 91 receptions for 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns. At 4, I got Chris Olave out of Ohio State. I've been a fan of Chris Olave for a couple years now. I thought he was going to go pro last year, but he returned to school, and it worked out well for him. This guy's a truly gifted route runner, reminiscent of Keenan Allen. He ran well at the combine with a 4.39 40-yard dash. Last season, he had 65 receptions for 936 yards, 13 touchdowns. At 3, Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. And I don't like to throw around Debo comps lightly, but Burks reminds me of Debo. He's so physical after the catch. He's got a strong frame. The first guy rarely takes him down. 66 catches for 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns this past season. And his quarterback play was subpar, so I can only fathom what he could have done with a good quarterback. Ran the 4.55 at the combine, which was good enough, in my opinion, for him to stay pat at that third position where I've had him for quite a while. At 2, Jameson Williams out of Alabama, the dynamite stick. This guy's a big play threat. And I was waffling back and forth. Is he 2? Is he 1? Is he 2? Is he 1? I kept him at 2, but I'm a big Jameson Williams fan. He's a guy who can take the top off a defense. Teams better keep a safety over the top when Jameson Williams is lined up out wide. And he's not short at 6'1.5". Didn't do anything at the combine. He's still rehabbing an injury, but I love Jameson Williams. My number 1 receiver, Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State. This guy's super coordinated. He's making acrobatic catches all over the field. He can get separation. He's phenomenal after the catch. He's fast. He ran a 4.38 today. He can go deep. He He can go short. The guy can do anything. And again, I'm going to stress, I think he's really good after the catch. He's got great vision. After he catches the ball, he can survey the field and knows where to go to get maximum yardage. Caught 70 balls for 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns this past year at Ohio State. There it is. That's my top 20. Let me know in the comments where you think I screwed up, but make sure you guys like and subscribe. Thanks for checking out the video.